Hi, welcome to another episode of Hot Takes with me, the Silver Fox. Now, we've got a video here about YouGov. YouGov have released their figures, their latest polling figures for the general election. This is finally, because normally they do a UK-wide one and then extrapolate Scottish figures, but this is actual dedicated Scottish poll that they've done. And so these figures are there, and they're showing a remarkable rise for Labour. This will be worrying for, I think, for the SNP. Now, there's only 4 full days left of campaigning, plus today. I mean, obviously you got the rest of today, and then 4 full days: Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. I believe, if I'm right, if I'm wrong, please let me know. But I believe campaigning has to stop 10 p.m. Wednesday night, because that's a full 24 hours before the polls close on the Thursday. So I think that's the rule. So they'll be hard at it until Wednesday evening. And so if there's anything wrong, which there is for the SNP, it means that the clock is running and they've got very little time left to try and sort out whatever it is that's going wrong. And in the case of the SNP, it's a lack of support. It's a terrible policy. It's the fact they won't even campaign for this election. Everything they're doing is campaigning for independence. There's nothing that they've mentioned nothing about what they're going to do for Scotland today. Everything is, when we get independence, we'll do this. Oh, when an independent Scotland, we'll do that. Ask them what they're going to do for Scotland today, and there is nothing in that manifesto. So it's no surprise that they're losing support. And of course, they've been losing support a lot over the last couple of years for various reasons. And of course, there's all the police investigations as well. That doesn't help, does it? But where Labour have had for some time now a lead over the SNP, it's been 1%, 2%, 3% early days. It's stretched. It got to 4% recently. It's grown again. According to this poll, it's now grown to a full 6 percentage points. And the SNP are, for the first time, under 30%. They're on 29%. Labour, 35%. So I think it's quite clear that Labour are dominant, growing. They have the momentum. And the SNP are like shrinking violets, and their support is evaporating like mist on a summer's morning. I cannot see a way back for them in the next 4 days. So, Anna Sowell will be sitting there rubbing his hands with glee, a modern-day Fagin, as he's overlooking all his thieves, or the Labour Party MSPs and MPs, as we like to call them. But that's how it goes. Now, it does show the figures. We're going to go through these figures. Now, I'm having to refer down, because obviously I'm going to remember all of these on such a quick reading. But we can have a look at it. But it does show that since the 2019 election, Westminster election, a quarter of all SNP voters at that election are now voting elsewhere. They've gone. Now, it doesn't mean all the SNP support's gone. Of course, you're still going to get the swivel-eyed loons that keep voting for them, regardless of how bad the party is, regardless of the evidence of their own eyes. But they, you can disregard them. They're low rent, aren't they? They're a bit up in the head. When they see all this terrible stuff happening and they still vote for them, there's literally no hope. But for normal people who've supported them in the past, who like the idea of independence in principle, they're not actually tied to the SNP. And that, of course, is telling, and that is why the SNP are going to be handed their backside in 5 days' time. So, as I say, the Labour on top with 35, SNP second, 29. Tories and Lib Dems, they're joint third with 11% each. Who's next? Well, Reform are on 8% and the Greens on 5%. Reform are now outperforming the Greens. Reform weren't strong in Scotland, but they're strong enough. They're growing. The Greens could lose their deposits. That'd be a calamity, wouldn't it? I'm sure we'll all be deeply, deeply upset to see this. Now, obviously, there's been boundary changes and things like that. So they're not directly connected, comparative, but the indication by numbers can be extrapolated, given that it was a good selection and and YouGov are fairly accurate. I mean, they've nailed the last 3-4 elections like within percentage points. Anyway, the quarter of, as I say, the quarter of the SNP votes have gone, and it's attracting similar number of former Lib Dems and Tory voters are going to Labour as well, which is worrying for both the Lib Dems and the Tories. I think more for the Tories because they know they're in deep, deep trouble anyway. Because they're not only are you getting people jumping from the Tories to Labour, they're also jumping from Tory, of course, to to Reform, and so it is not excellent. But we're going to have a look here at what the most important issues in Scotland are very quickly. I'm just going to run through here, and we'll go by largest to smallest. Those are the words. I'm decreasing numbers. So the number one single most important item on the agenda in Scotland, according to the voters, is unsurprisingly the NHS and the health situation of the country. Quite right too. Second, cost of living. Third, the economy in general. Fourth is immigration. And despite what the SNP say, most people, like the vast majority, don't want it. Whether or not Scotland is independent or not is only important to current SNP voters. It's only the fifth most important across the whole of Scotland. So why do the SNP keep pushing it as though it's important? It's not important to most people. It is just the way it is. And you just can't get over how unimportant it is when you look at the actual numbers. Now, do these things translate to seats? Well, they do. And it ain't good. Because according to these figures from YouGov, the seat translation puts the SNP estimated at 16 seats. Now that's before the good people like yourselves do a little bit of tactical voting. With tactical voting and a little bit of luck and a little bit of a push, who knows? Single figures? Naught? I mean, that'd be cracking, wouldn't it? It's not likely to be nothing, but single figures is definitely on the cards with these numbers. So do it. Go for it. Beat them. Anyway, quite interesting. Very enthusiastically accepted. We're happy with these numbers. Anything that gets rid of the SNP has got to be good. So thanks very much for watching. Press the like button, hit the subscribe button, ring the bell, leave it. Let me know what you think. And until next time, stay safe and goodbye.